Desperate Networks. And I've taken this title from the book by Bill Carter, reporter, who also wrote a previous book called The Late Shift about the late night wars and how Jay Leno ended up as host of The Tonight Show when Johnny Carson really wanted David Letterman, to be his successor. The digital age runs from 1976 to the present, and the early 2000s brought changes. NBC fell from grace. CBS, like the proverbial tortoise and the hare, had a slow and steady rise to the top. ABC managed to resurrect itself thanks to innovative shows like Lost and Desperate Housewives. And crazy like a fox, the fourth network finally becomes a ratings player. How did NBC fall from grace? They went from number one to number four in the 2005-06 season. The only new show that survived from fall to a second season was My Name is Earl from showrunner Greg Garcia. NBC was victimized by its failure to develop new hits and also by changing viewing patterns. And here's a shot of the ensemble cast of My Name is Earl. It's a fun concept for a show. Earl's kind of like a down on his luck ne'er do well, and then he ends up winning the lottery, and so he makes a list of people that he needs to help because he is a big believer in karma, and so he has a list. So that's kind of the raison d'etre for his quest to do good. Let's talk about CBS slow and steady rise to the top. Hits like Survivor and CSI Crime Scene Investigation helped CBS grow younger in key demographics. The problem is, now, fast forward to the present, those shows have been on for a while. I think Survivor is approaching season 50, which means it will have been on for 25 seasons total. So you grew younger and then you got old again. CSI Crime Scene Investigation also became a huge hit for them and a bit of a franchise with multiple spin-offs. CBS retook number one from NBC in 2002, 2003, and then 0506, 0607, 0809, and on. And by number of eyeballs, it's America's most watched network. Because face it, most younger people aren't watching linear TV. And I'm not a younger people, and I don't watch a lot of linear TV because I can DVR stuff through my cable box or I can find it on streaming. And that's a cast from Survivor season one. That season it was a summer replacement series, and the ratings were huge. We'll talk about them in the next lecture. And they've gone back. There was no subtitle season one, but now it is referred to as Survivor Borneo. And there's the ensemble cast of CSI, Crime Scene Investigation. It begat CSI Miami and CSI New York and CSI Cyber, which didn't last long, and then a revival series, CSI Vegas, which also only lasted a few years. ABC managed to resurrect itself with unconventional shows like Desperate Housewives and Lost. And so it helped the network kind of become a player again. Ironically, the executives who greenlit those two groundbreaking shows didn't get to bask in that success because they were long fired. And here's the ensemble cast from Desperate Housewives. Terry Hatcher was the most well known of that group because of Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, which had a 4-season run in the early 90s. And Nicolette Sheridan had been in a nighttime soap. Felicity Huffman had been on 2 seasons of Sports Night. Marsha Cross had been on the original version of Melrose Place. And why am I blanking? Ava Longoria. This show made her a star. And by the way, she directed a telefilm last year called Flamin' Hot about the creation of Flamin' Hot products from Frito Lay. She did a great job as director. I hope to see more from her in the future. And she's also in the 4th season of Only Murders in the Building on Hulu. And here's a shot from the ensemble cast of Lost. This is from season 3 or probably 4 or 5 because of cast members who are in it and not in it. I say cryptically. We're gonna watch the pilot of Lost very soon in class. At the time, it was the most expensive television pilot ever made. 2 hour movie, $12 million, which means $6 million an hour. Shot on location in Hawaii. It's a terrific pilot. We only have time to watch part one, and they aired it as two parts over 2 weeks. And then the Saturday night after part two aired, they stitched them together as a 2 hour movie, which was kind of interesting. We'll talk about it when we watch it in class. Crazy like a fox. uh, American Idol became a monster hit and was the top rated television series from 2004 to 2011. And Fox overtook CBS for the first place in the 2007-8 season. Shows like 24 gave the network prestige, and The Simpsons anchored the Sunday night animation domination programming block. That show, I think this is season 35 because it was a mid-season replacement in 1990. So Bart has been in fourth grade for like 35 years. The beginning of this season, they made a special series finale episode, tongue in cheek, narrated by Conan O'Brien, who, before his late night talk shows, was a writer on The Simpsons, the early years of the show. And here's our OG American Idol group of judges: Randy Jackson, Paula Abdul, and Simon Cowell. Let's talk about 24. It was a high concept premise. Each episode represented 1 hour of one day of counterterrorism unit. Oh, why am I blanking on Jack's last name? But CTU agent played by Kiefer Sutherland. And it went on 8 seasons, including a 2 hour telefilm, and they also did a revival, which was only 12 episodes. Personally, I thought it would have been better at 8 because sometimes it strains credulity. But Jack Bauer is Kiefer Sutherland's character's name. And then also they tried to spin off 24 Legacy. It didn't get past the first 13 episodes, which is too bad because Corey Hawkins, an actor I really like a lot. He's been in most recently he was in the tragedy of Macbeth and also in the Heights. But I just thought that it's hard to catch lightning in a bottle twice, and TV, networks and producers try to do it all the time, but it usually doesn't work. I'm going to put links to the trailers for both CSI and 24 in the announcement, which also is going to link to this video. Okay,